When I was a young actor, I received an extraordinary piece of advice on acting from the great Lana Turner. Lana Turner was one of the biggest stars of the 40s and 50s. She was up for an Academy Award. She was mentioned in Madonna's Vogue. She was the famous sweater girl who was discovered at Schwab's pharmacy, which of course wasn't true. I was working in a restaurant called Ted Hook's Backstage in New York City, and after a few weeks I booked my first movie and gave my notice, and before I left, Ted said, "I have a surprise for you," and he walked me into the private dining room, and there, seated at a table lit by a candle, was Lana Turner. He introduced me as someone who had just booked his first movie, and he gave us our time together, and she was there with a cocktail and a cigarette and looked at me with the most mournful eyes and said, "The only piece of advice I have for you is no matter what's happening in your life, no matter what's happening in the world, no matter what's happening on the film set, only use the good energy. You're going to be pulled out of it, but stay with the good energy. The good energy is the only thing that will get you through." And at the time I was 20 years old. I didn't fully understand what she was talking about, but I nodded in agreement like I did because it seemed like she was imparting something very special to her. Well, of course, 40 years later, I've thought about that moment a lot, and what she was dropping was great wisdom. And that is that all we have to infuse our work with is our love, our light, our heart, whatever word you want to use. It's that part of us that infuses the work even when we're dealing with the tremendous tragedy or trauma. What we bring to it, the alchemy that we bring to it, is that light, that love, that compassion that we infuse into the work. So how, as actors, do we stay connected to that when indeed the country is being torn apart and so much is happening? Well, the way that I find to get myself out of a dark space into the light as quickly as possible is just by sharing gratitude. And by that, you can do a gratitude journal. Much like Marianne Williamson says, there's no hierarchy of miracles. There's also no hierarchy of gratitude. So you can be grateful for the air that you are able to breathe. You can be grateful that, unlike 90% of the world, you've eaten within the last 24 hours. You can be grateful for having indoor plumbing. You can be grateful for the people in your life. Just by saying to yourself, and preferably out loud, "I'm grateful for my home, I am grateful for my dog, I am grateful for my friends," it begins to shift something inside, clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow, so to speak, allowing you to reconnect with that light, that love, that spirit that you can then infuse into your audience. I hope this was helpful, and good luck out there.